Feeling dizzy and lightheaded, I came out of the bathroom, and my roommate Emily looked at me hesitantly, as if she wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Confused, I asked her, "What's wrong?" Emily glanced around at the others in the dorm before pulling me into a corner. "Sophia, are you pregnant?" I subconsciously touched my belly. Has it already become so obvious? I just found out I was pregnant last week. It must have happened accidentally when my boyfriend Ethan and I spent time together during last month's Valentine's Day. Ethan and I have been together for 3 years, and our relationship is stable. We originally planned to wait until after graduation and once we had stable jobs to get married. Now that graduation is approaching, I'm pregnant. I initially didn't plan to keep the baby, but seeing the eager and hopeful look in Ethan's eyes makes me feel somewhat reluctant. After discussing it with my parents, I have decided to go ahead and have the child. I haven't graduated yet, and being unmarried and pregnant isn't something to be proud of, so I don't plan to make it public. However, I didn't expect that while I could hide it from everyone else, I couldn't hide it from my roommate. I've noticed you've been feeling sluggish lately, not having an appetite and often feeling nauseous, so I just wanted to check on you. Your condition is exactly like when my sister-in-law was pregnant. Just to be safe, if your period doesn't come, you should take a test. Emily noticed that I wasn't speaking and quickly offered an explanation. Just as I was about to ask her to keep a secret from me, Olivia, who was also in the dorm, came over and pulled her aside. I overheard Olivia lowering her voice to tell Emily, "You really shouldn't get too close to someone like her. Everyone knows she's the other woman. If you hang out with her, people might think you're just as questionable." Wow, they actually dared to talk about me behind my back right in front of me. You say who is the third party and who is indecent. Olivia, you usually target me, rallying classmates to distance themselves from me, and I haven't held that against you. But now you're going too far, even fabricating claims that I am the third party. Do you really think I have no temper? Olivia not only showed no signs of guilt but also stood up abruptly with a swift motion. You have the ability to do that kind of thing, so don't be afraid of what others say about you. What are you pretending to be innocent and noble for now? If it were me, I would have hidden away and wouldn't dare to show my face. What are you still trying to prove here? You've been exposed in front of everyone, and now you're angry out of shame. Hearing these baseless accusations made me very angry. Emily might be afraid that we would get into a fight, so she quickly stopped me. Then she mentioned Olivia. Who doesn't know that Sophia and Ethan have been together for 3 years? What third party are you talking about? Did you mishear? Hurry up and apologize to Sophia. Olivia not only failed to appreciate it, but she also said, she only has a little money, and you're trying so hard to please her? Who doesn't know Sophia from our dormitory now? Someone posted about her on the school's confession wall, accusing her of interfering in other people's relationships and being shameless. Even her secrets have been dug up. As Olivia spoke, she took out her phone and proudly waved it around. This is the evidence, so some people won't say that I'm deliberately slandering her. Hey, Sophia, isn't this your photo? Emily covered her mouth and handed me her phone. Just as Olivia said, my photo had been posted on the confession wall. It wasn't that someone wanted to confess their feelings or was trying to get close to me. The title read, Sophia, who intervenes in others' relationships, has no shame. After clicking in to take a look, I found that the person who posted claimed to be Ethan's fiancé, with whom he had held an engagement ceremony. She accused me of stealing her love, saying that I would go to any lengths to get Ethan, even going so far as to deliberately get pregnant to force him to stay with me. She claimed that she had dropped out of school early and worked to support Ethan through college, only to be abandoned now. In despair, she resorted to posting on a wall of confessions, hoping I would give Ethan back to her. She spoke with such seriousness, portraying herself as a pitiable figure. I am indeed a thoroughly bad woman. That's why the comments below are overwhelmingly critical of me. Sophia looks so presentable on the outside, but I never expected her to be such a person behind the scenes. It's not scary to desire a man. What's frightening is the kind of person who desires other men. What she's doing is wrong, and she will face consequences for it. I looked at those unfriendly comments, my vision blurring with anger. I don't know if this person is Ethan's fiancé, but from the content of her posts, it's clear that their relationship is anything but ordinary. Looks like you have nothing to say now. Some people, really. TSK. Olivia was still making sarcastic remarks beside me, but I didn't have the energy to pay her any attention. The priority right now is to get to the bottom of this situation. I took out my phone, wanting to call Ethan, but before I could dial, my roommate Mia burst through the door, out of breath. As soon as she saw me, she exclaimed loudly without waiting to catch her breath, "Sophia, hurry up and go to the school gate. There are 2 women there holding a banner, and they're talking about you. There are a lot of people gathered at the school gate, and the security can't seem to disperse them. They said they wouldn't leave the school gate until they saw you today. You should hurry and go check it out." Olivia said gleefully. "They came right to your doorstep? I thought this kind of thing only happened online. I didn't expect to witness it today. Now, let's see what you have to say." I was already furious, and when I heard her keep babbling next to me, I shouted, "If you don't shut up, no one will think you're mute." After yelling that, I ran towards the school gate while calling Ethan. If he can't explain today's incident clearly, I'm not going to let him off the hook. However, no matter whether I called or sent a voice message, no one answered. Just as I got closer, someone who knew me shouted loudly, Look, Sophia is here." With that shout, the crowded people automatically made way for me. So this is Sophia. She looks the part. No wonder she could get involved in someone else's relationship. It probably isn't that simple. If Ethan could get mixed up with her, what kind of person could he be? As I listened to the people around me openly discussing my presence, a surge of anger rushed to the top of my head. Before I could open my mouth to explain, a woman in ordinary clothes rushed over and raised her hand as if to push me. I might be pregnant, but I'm not incapacitated. I sidestepped her hand and pushed back, causing her to stumble and fall out of the way. Just as she was about to hit the ground, another slightly older woman ran over to catch her. Meanwhile, a banner at the flower bed by the school gate reading "The third party should die, return my fiancé" was being photographed incessantly by onlookers with their phones. I climbed up, yanked them down in a couple of quick motions, and threw them in front of the 2 women. "I don't care who you are, but you need to take your things and leave right now." The older woman placed her hands on her hips and began to scold me. "Hey, you shameless little vixen. I am Ethan's sister. How dare you tell me to leave? Just you wait, I won't let Ethan deal with you." It then occurred to me that Ethan did indeed have a sister, but he had said she was working in the South to support his education. How could she suddenly appear at our school gate? "Lily, come here," Ethan's sister said as she pulled the woman beside her over, introducing her to everyone like a mother-in-law introducing a daughter-in-law. "This is Lily, Ethan's fiancée. They have officially held a banquet and are on the right path." Lily glared at me fiercely, opening her mouth to curse. Where did this shameless vixen come from, daring to seduce my Ethan? I grew up with Ethan. We've been together since middle school, and our bond is very strong. If it weren't for your shameless seduction, he would never have betrayed me. Don't think that just because you're pregnant now, you can keep him for yourself. I've seen plenty of shameless women like you. Who knows whose child you're carrying? Just wait. Once Ethan finds out the truth, he will definitely leave you. Lily was very agitated, her thick lips spewing saliva as she spoke, just like the shrewish women from TV dramas. I took a deep breath and forced myself to calm down, trying to reason things out. First of all, I don't know if Ethan has a fiancé, because he never mentioned having one when he was pursuing me in the first place. Also, I've been with Ethan for 3 years, and that's something many people know. During this time, he never brought up having any previous girlfriends. If what you're saying is true, then it means Ethan deceived me, and I am also a victim. You're not going to look for Ethan, but instead, you're here causing trouble for me. What exactly do you want? And those remarks you posted on the school confession wall, along with the banner you're still hanging at school to spread rumors, these are all wrong. Before I could finish my sentence, Ethan's sister pushed Lily behind her. Who do you think you're scaring? Today, I've seen it for myself. Some people can twist the truth so much that black can be made to seem white. You, as the third party, instead of running away when you see Lily, still have the audacity to flaunt your power here. Ethan's sister rolled up her sleeves and seemed ready to come over and hit me. Seeing that they were impossible to reason with, I had no choice but to take out my phone and prepare to call the police. If they kept causing such a commotion, it would surely provoke the school authorities' dissatisfaction. With graduation just around the corner, I didn't want to end up with an unwarranted disciplinary action because of this nonsense. Hey, you dare to call the police? Lily noticed the number I was about to dial on my phone and, catching me off guard, snatched the phone and threw it to the ground. My new phone that I bought last month instantly shattered into pieces. Not satisfied with just breaking my phone, Lily came up wanting to pull my hair. Even the calmest person would struggle to tolerate repeated provocations, not to mention my temper isn't particularly good. I reached out and pushed Lily away, my anger flaring up, ready to teach her a lesson. To my surprise, a guy suddenly appeared out of nowhere and blocked her. My hand hit his back, causing it to sting and feel numb. When he turned around, I was shocked to see it was Ethan, someone I could never get in touch with. Ethan, what on earth is going on? Ethan, are you okay? Are you hurt? That malicious little brat actually dared to hit me. Ethan. Lily, Ethan's sister, and I all spoke up almost simultaneously. Ethan looked at me, his face filled with concern. Sophia, let me explain. Before Ethan could finish his sentence, his sister grabbed him by the collar and spun him around. Ethan, look who's here. Lily stood to the side, her previous fierce demeanor gone, replaced by an awkward and uneasy expression as she hesitantly called out, Ethan. Lily. Well, judging by Ethan's reaction, it seemed that his relationship with Lily was quite special. Lily pointed at me, tears streaming down her face. Ethan, what did you promise me before? Didn't you say that you only loved me? Didn't you say that you spent all your time studying at school and had no time to notice other girls? If I hadn't uncovered clues from your social media, following them to their source, would you have gone ahead and married that woman? She got pregnant before you even got married. What kind of decent person could that be? Ethan's sister was by his side, both assuring and swearing, and she didn't forget to press Ethan for a response. Lily is right, Ethan. You can't let Lily's heartfelt feelings go to waste. No matter how good other women may be, none can compare to Lily, right? Say something. Ethan stammered and skirted around the topic. Listening to this, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of irony. Just last night, Ethan was gently touching my belly, guessing whether it was a boy or a girl. I had always thought that Ethan and I could share everything, from our school uniforms to our wedding dresses, and become the envy of everyone. Looking back now, I can only regret how blind I was at that time. People around me were pointing and whispering to each other as they watched the scene. I felt like a monkey in a zoo, trapped in a cage and subjected to their judgment. A tremendous sense of humiliation nearly brought me to tears, and the nausea that I had barely managed to suppress surged back to the surface. Ugh. In the end, I couldn't hold it back any longer. I leaned against a large tree nearby and began to vomit, continuing until there was nothing left in my stomach. Only then did I stop. Seeing me like this, Ethan quickly came over to pat my back. How are you? Are you feeling any better? Do you want me to go get you a bottle of water? I shook off his hand. You should focus on your sister and your fiancé. Saying this, I forced myself to stand up despite feeling unwell. As I took a couple of steps forward, I suddenly tripped over something and fell hard to the ground. In the split second before I lost consciousness, I caught a glimpse of Lily's resentful face. When I woke up, everything around me felt strange and unfamiliar. The faint scent of disinfectant filled my nose. I now realize that I am in a hospital. Thinking about everything that happened earlier, I feel a sudden shock and instinctively place my hand on my stomach. Not feeling any discomfort eases my anxiety a little. Sophia, you're awake? Ethan rubs his slightly swollen eyes and quickly comes over to check on me. Seeing me touch my belly, perhaps afraid I would worry, he quickly said, the doctor has checked, and the baby is fine, so don't worry. How are you feeling now? Do you want to eat something? I can go get something for you. I didn't want to respond to him at all and simply turned my head to the side, looking out the window. You're Sophia, right? Ethan's sister walked around to the other side of the hospital bed, directly blocking my line of sight. She wore a flattering smile that left me a bit confused. Sophia, this is all my fault. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions based on hearsay. It's all Lily's doing. I was also deceived by her, which is why I came to stir things up with her. The inconsistent attitude feels as if the person who had defended Lily so vigorously was not her at all. I finally turned to Ethan. What on earth is going on? Ethan explained that he and Lily grew up together because they were neighbors. They were classmates all the way through high school, but that was all it was. They were not a couple. That's not right. She clearly said that you two had an engagement ceremony before. Ethan's sister looked at me with a hint of guilt and explained, it's not what you think. This was just a celebration for Ethan getting into college. Our family held a party for it. At that time, Lily was also there, and some relatives and friends suggested that they might as well get engaged right then and there. But don't worry, our family definitely didn't agree to that. As she spoke, she ignored my resistance and stubbornly pulled my hand. I've heard Ethan say that you're a good girl, and now you're even expecting a child. You two should decide when to go and get your marriage certificate. Ethan's sister kept talking, but I was too distracted to listen. Looking at Ethan, who still wore a loving smile, I felt an unsettling sensation deep inside me. What on earth had happened while I was unconscious? The Lily, who had been so desperate and loud before, had now disappeared without a trace, so quietly. The dramatic change in Ethan's sister's attitude raises suspicions. What about Lily? The smile on Ethan's face became somewhat forced. She spread rumors that caused so much trouble in our lives, so of course, we sent her away. Just like that, you got rid of her? Ethan thought I was too soft-hearted and wanted to persuade me, but as soon as he started to speak, I interrupted him directly. She has smeared my reputation, making me the laughingstock of the entire school. She even tripped me, almost putting my child's life in danger. This matter cannot just end here. I want to report it to the police. Even if it doesn't result in her facing legal consequences, she needs to be punished for what she did. Don't call the police, Ethan exclaimed without thinking. Seeing me look at him, he hurriedly explained that Sophia, you see, you didn't really suffer any substantial harm, right? No substantial harm? Ethan, so you're saying the person who got hung up on the confession wall isn't you? Those unpleasant words are not directed at you. Or should I wait until I fall and end up with serious injuries before it can be considered substantial harm? Seeing my firm attitude, Sister Ethan panicked. But we can't call the police, Sophia. If we push Lily too hard, she might do something irrational, and that would be bad. In broad daylight and under the clear sky, does she really dare to hurt me directly? Ethan's sister was left speechless by these words. Ethan attempted to moralize my situation. After all, we grew up together and our families are acquainted with each other. If this turns out to be too embarrassing, how am I supposed to face them when I go back? Sophia, you are the most understanding person. For my sake, could you just let it go? I let out a cold snort. Your pride? Am I supposed to swallow all this disgusting stuff like it's just garbage to spare your feelings? Hey, how can you speak like that? Seeing that soft tactics were ineffective, Ethan's sister decided to take a more direct approach. If you dare to keep bringing this up, do you believe I can make Ethan break up with you? Just wait and see how you'll find a good husband with a big belly. Sis! Ethan wanted to intervene, but he realized it was too late. Upon hearing this, I almost burst out laughing in anger. Is that what you think too? Do you think you can manipulate me just because you think I'm pregnant? Ethan lowered his head and said nothing. Is this his way of agreeing? I pointed at the hospital door and exclaimed, let's go, before I do something even more outrageous. Ethan seemed like he wanted to say something, but his sister intervened first. All right, Sophia, you're being tough now, but there will come a time when you need us. Ethan, let's go. With that, she pulled Ethan out, even though he clearly had more to say. In the background, I vaguely heard Ethan's voice. Sis, why are you so impatient? I'm not saying we should just coax her for now. After we get married, then. The rest of the words trailed off, unclear. I lay back down, staring at the ceiling in a daze, but my mind involuntarily wandered to the years I spent with Ethan. In fact, not long after we started our freshman year, Ethan began to pursue me relentlessly. At first, I didn't like him. It wasn't until a class reunion when I had a bit too much to drink that he quietly accompanied me back home, making sure to confirm with my roommate that I was safe before he left. At that moment, I found this boy quite thoughtful. A lot happened afterward that gradually made him win a place in my heart. Although our families aren't exactly a perfect match, he never showed any signs of insecurity in front of me. On the contrary, sometimes he even exhibited a perfect amount of assertiveness. This made our time together very enjoyable, otherwise, I wouldn't even consider marrying him. The unexpected pregnancy simply accelerated this process. However, now I suddenly realize that my understanding of him seems woefully inadequate. What I have seen is only what he has deliberately chosen to show me. The appearance of his sister and Lily today allowed me to see a side of him that I had never witnessed before. By the time I see Ethan again, it will already be the afternoon of the next day. He walked in and questioned me. Didn't I tell you not to call the police? How did Lily still get taken away? What? Do you know her situation inside out? She was just taken away, and you rushed over here to interrogate me? Seeing that I was determined not to let Lily go, Ethan could only sigh. Fine, I guess the worst that could happen is that I'll bring a generous gift when I go home for the new year to apologize. How are you feeling today? The doctor said to keep you under observation for a while. If you and the baby are both doing fine, you can be discharged. Should I help you with the discharge procedures now? No, I need to stay for another 2 days. Oh, by the way, I should let you know that I have already had the surgery to remove the baby. What? Ethan seemed to cling to a glimmer of hope as he looked at me and asked, Sophia, you're not serious, are you? Just a couple of days ago, we were discussing names for the baby. How could you possibly bear to terminate the pregnancy? Ethan, you know me. When have I ever joked with you about something like this? Upon hearing this, Ethan's expression changed drastically. Damn it! She picked up a cup from the nearby cabinet and smashed it on the floor. Sophia, how dare you take matters into your own hands? This hospital too, how could they proceed with your surgery without my consent as the father of this child? Have you forgotten that we haven't registered our marriage yet? Is there anything wrong with me signing for the surgery myself? I was not the least bit intimidated by his anger. I looked him in the eye and asked, also, I have always insisted that you take proper precautions. Why am I still pregnant? Facing my scrutinizing gaze, Ethan quickly changed the subject. All right, if you want to terminate the pregnancy, then do it. I won't hold it against you. You must handle things with Lily, I insisted. Seeing his reaction confirmed my suspicions were correct. I quietly clenched my fists and said word by word, it's impossible. If she dares to act, she must bear the corresponding consequences. Sophia, how did you become like this? Ethan looked at me, his face filled with disappointment. I sneered in response. What do I look like now? Is this the first day you've known me? You should know what I look like very well. After all, I'm not like you, I can't disguise myself so well. What do you mean by that? The literal meaning. Before I lose my temper and call security, it's better for you to leave early and save yourself some dignity. After all, we were in a relationship, so it's best for both of us to part ways amicably. Ethan looked shocked and asked, you want to break up with me? Then what else is there to do? Should we just keep it around for the new year? Ethan rushed in front of me. I could see the veins popping on his forehead, his eyes were bloodshot, and his whole body was trembling slightly. He was clearly trying hard to control his anger. I didn't dare to provoke him anymore and turned my head away from him. After a long while, I finally heard him say, you should rest well. Then I heard the sound of his footsteps as he walked away. At that moment, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Yet, I had no regrets about being honest with him and stating that I wanted to break up. Since I saw that surveillance video yesterday afternoon, I have felt as sick as if I had swallowed a fly. Rather than regretting it for the rest of my life, it's better to deal with it decisively now. I also feel somewhat fortunate. If Lily and Ethan's sister hadn't caused such a commotion, I might still be in the dark. If I were to get married and have a child, that would truly be getting stuck with Ethan like gum on my shoe. I still felt a bit worried in my heart. Ethan is the kind of person who won't give up until he achieves his goal. Sure enough, my worries were justified. After staying in the hospital for 3 days, I was discharged and returned to school. As soon as I stepped into the dormitory, 3 pairs of eyes immediately turned to look at me. Olivia spoke up first. Sophia? How dare you come back? Emily and Mia looked at me with worried expressions. Sophia, you might not know this yet, but... Seeing Mia constantly picking at her hands, I couldn't shake off a sense of unease. I asked her, what do you know? You, my friend, are in big trouble. Ethan's fiancé is live streaming about you online. Right now, you're like a rat running through the street, everyone is talking about you. Lily really dares to stir up trouble. Does she truly think I'm easy to bully? I opened Lily's live stream. Just as Olivia had said, she was crying like a wilted flower, accusing me of being shameless and seducing Ethan. The comments flooding the screen were all attacking me in her defense. Some even posted my personal information for everyone to see. At that moment, someone knocked on the door, and as Olivia, who was closest to the door, opened it, several people rushed in. They were holding cameras or waving their phones around, taking pictures everywhere. Look, this is Sophia, the third party everyone is talking about. Sophia, what is your purpose in getting involved in someone else's relationship? Those people were eager to shove the microphone right in front of my face. It seemed like they had all watched Lily's live stream and wanted to ride the wave of attention. I was surrounded by a group of people, and someone was constantly pushing and shoving me. Hey, what are you doing? This is a dormitory, a private space. If you don't leave right now, I'm going to call the police. Mia shouted loudly, but no one paid her any attention. Emily, being very timid, was scared by the situation and started crying while trying to pull away the people surrounding me. On the contrary, it was Olivia, who usually didn't get along with me, who reacted first. She quickly grabbed 2 large buckets of water and started splashing it on those people while shouting, "If you dare to cause trouble in our dormitory, just get lost." Seeing this, Mia quickly followed suit. However, those people refused to leave and continued banging on the door. Emily hurriedly called the dorm manager, asking her to come and get rid of them. "Hey, are you okay? I see your hair's a mess. Usually, you're pretty assertive. How did you let someone push you around just now?" Hearing this, I noticed Olivia's expression shift, her nose scrunched and her eyes wide. For the first time, I found her quite cute. "Thank you." When Olivia heard me thank her, her face suddenly turned red. Stammering, she replied, "Don't think that a couple of thank yous will make me forgive you, though. Look at this mess in the dorm. These troubles wouldn't have come up if it weren't for you. I told you long ago that Ethan is no good." Listening to her rambling, I no longer felt inclined to argue with her like before. While packing my things, Mia asked me anxiously how I planned to deal with this situation. I, however, felt much less worried. Based on my understanding of Ethan, Lily must have done this at his suggestion. It was nothing more than an attempt to use public pressure to force me to submit to him. Sure enough, the next afternoon he called to invite me out. When I arrived at the designated place, I discovered that not only Ethan was there, but also Lily and Ethan's sister. As soon as she saw me, Ethan's sister started scolding me. "You little ruthless person who deserves to be struck by lightning, how could you be so heartless as to get rid of your own flesh and blood? That's the root of our family. You need to pay for this." Not wanting to engage with her, I went straight to the point and asked Ethan, "So, what do you want?" "We want..." Ethan's sister spoke eagerly, but she was interrupted by Ethan. He reached out. "Take out your phone. Sophia, I know you're smart, so I'm not going to give you the chance to record me." How ironic that once close lovers have turned into this. I took out my phone but didn't hand it to him. Instead, I powered it off right in front of him. "Now you can tell me your terms, right?" Ethan was sure that no one else could overhear our conversation, so he finally spoke up. "Sophia, why are you being so heartless? Weren't we supposed to get married right after graduation?" "Stop it!" I didn't want to hear any more of his nonsense, so I said directly, "I have limited time, so please only say what's useful. Our conditions are very simple. Either you marry Ethan, and in addition, you must gift him an apartment in the city center. The property title can only be in Ethan's name. And you also have to arrange for me to work in your parents' company." Seeing that Ethan's sister didn't mention herself at all, Lily couldn't wait to speak up. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Ethan continued, "If you don't want to marry me, that's fine. Just give me 20 million in cash as compensation for losing the child." "Is that it? Anything else?" I asked, understandingly. Ethan's sister thought I was at her mercy and showed a greedy look. I wasn't as dismissive as before, and it seemed she was looking at me as if I were a source of wealth. "You also need to find jobs for me and Lily. We can't be overworked, and the salary has to be high." Yes, exactly," Lily chimed in from the side. It was as if my nod would instantly make their demands come true. "But what you're doing is extortion. You know it's illegal, right?" I kindly reminded them. Before I could say more, Ethan's sister spoke up. "So what if it is extortion?" Ethan chimed in. "If you don't agree, Lily will continue to stream online. Even if you aren't worried about how it might affect you, what about your parents? If those irrational online users take any action, it won't be as simple as the conditions we've put forward." He actually dares to threaten me using my parents. I gritted my teeth and asked, "Are you threatening me?" "Sophia, stop trying to manipulate us. Even if you get the answer you want, who besides you can prove what we said here?" I looked at a few people and pretended to be quite reluctant as I replied, "In that case, let's just get married. But I have one condition: you are not allowed to have any contact with Lily or your family. If you don't agree, then we'll both be worse off. If I can't have a good time, you won't gain anything either." As soon as Lily and Ethan's sister heard this, they immediately became anxious. If Ethan agreed, they wouldn't benefit at all. "Ethan, you can't agree to that. What am I supposed to do if you marry her?" The two of them kept pulling at Ethan, and no matter how he tried to explain, it was of no use. "You're doing this on purpose." Ethan was smart and soon realized that I was trying to sow discord between them. However, what good does it do to think about it? A woman can be terrifying when she goes crazy. "I've given you your chance. How to choose is up to you. Drop dead." Before Ethan could say anything, Lily suddenly pulled out a fruit knife and lunged at me in a frenzy. She shouted, "How dare you try to steal my man? I'll kill you." I was forced to retreat until my back hit the wall, leaving me with no way to escape. "Put your hands on your head and crouch down. Don't move." Just as the situation was at its most critical moment, the police finally arrived and quickly subdued several people. The fruit knife in Lily's hand fell to the ground. From the reflection on the knife's blade, I saw my own face looking particularly pale. It would be a lie to say I wasn't scared, but thankfully, I had managed to succeed in some way. I hurriedly rubbed my face and cried out, "Officer, help! Someone is trying to hurt me." I felt as if I had been struck by a tremendous shock. My mind was foggy, and my words were jumbled, even to the point of pushing a few people. When someone finally pulled me away, the three who were being restrained had some injuries, however minor. I already mentioned that I'm not someone easy to bully. While they will still face legal consequences, let's not forget that these three had argued with me before. Today, I finally vented my frustration in a legitimate way. The three have been taken away, but the issue with the live stream is still unresolved. I uploaded a video online. The surveillance footage obtained in the hospital stairwell showed Ethan comforting Lily. "Lily, how could I ever really fall in love with someone like Sophia, who has such a bad temper and isn't even caring? You know that you are the only one in my heart." As he spoke, he held Lily in his arms, offering her reassurance. Lily asked again, "So why have you been together for 3 years, and she is even pregnant with your child?" "Let me explain," Ethan replied. He then shared his plan with her. Even if I tried to keep a low profile, he figured out that I was the only daughter of a wealthy family. From that moment on, he set his sights on me. After much effort, he finally managed to win me over. However, with graduation approaching, he feared that I might change my mind. That's why he decided to take drastic measures and deliberately got me pregnant. His thinking was simple: as long as I was pregnant, there would be no turning back, and I would have no choice but to marry him. Once married, since I have no siblings, my parents' company would ultimately fall into his hands. As for Lily, Ethan claimed that she was the only one in his heart, but unfortunately, he lacked the money to provide her with a good life. However, if he benefits from me, he could provide Lily with a good life. Ethan crafted an image of himself as a tragic lover who compromises everything for true love, which deeply moved Lily. After sending Lily away, Ethan began to confront his sister. It turned out that Lily's family home was slated for demolition, and it was about to become valuable, while Ethan's sister was unaware that my family was wealthy. Thus, for her own interest, she chose to side with Lily and cause trouble. This also explains why Ethan's sister's attitude towards me changed so drastically after I woke up. As soon as this video was released, it was immediately circulated wildly. I went from being the subject of everyone's discussions to becoming the victim. Public opinion had completely shifted. The tables had turned. I had been criticized before, but now they were being condemned even more harshly. However, they no longer had the energy to care about such trivial matters. Ethan thought that turning off my phone made everything safe, but he didn't realize that the hotel he chose was run by my uncle. Installing a camera in the room on an urgent basis is certainly not a big deal. However, due to charges such as blackmail, intentional injury, and malicious spreading of rumors, Ethan and his companions were taken away by the police for investigation. Ethan repeatedly requested to see me, but I turned him down each time. With a bright future ahead of me, I really must be out of my mind to meet him and add to my own troubles.